Welcome back to the 2025 season of Scouching Reports, and today we're going to have some fun. We're going to look at Alexander Zharovsky. Now, Alexander Zharovsky plays for Topar Ufa, which, if you're not familiar, is Salavat Yulayev, the KHL team's junior team out in Ufa in Russia. They play in the Silver Division in the Eastern Conference, which, if you're not familiar, is the worst division of hockey in Russian junior hockey at that level. So that's going to be important context through the lens of this video. Now, Zharovsky is a player who has been on my radar since September. When I was watching this team play, I was watching someone else, and I went, who in the name of God is this little guy, number 88, who's just zipping around and doing crazy stuff? Because I haven't heard a word about this guy, and I look him up, and he was playing in the second division of Russian junior hockey last season and has made the move to Ufa in the time since. Now, I will admit, it is shocking to me that Zharovsky, as much as I love him, has ended up a top 5 player according to NHL Central Scouting, especially considering what I've always believed NHL Central Scouting seems to like. But at the end of the day, I mean, Zharovsky is an incredibly creative and unique player in the draft this year, with some of the most high-end, silly moments of playmaking and creativity that I have seen out of anyone in this draft. He is one of a kind, really. Like, the amount of things that he tries, the high-end stuff he pulls off, the high-end stuff he doesn't pull off, the bizarre stuff that he's trying here and there. It's really, really interesting to watch this guy play. I think he's a little bit of a big question mark with regards to the skating ability projecting to the NHL and the pressure ability, the dealing with pressure from other guys. That's a bit of a work in progress, as we'll see in this video, and definitely can be a guy who maybe bites off a little more than he can chew a little bit too often. But I mean, you can probably just tell from these clips we're running through early on, but this is a guy who is just a riot of a hockey player to watch. And whether he goes in the first round, second round, sixth round, I don't care. Whoever picks him is going to get a very, very interesting player. I'm kind of annoyed that Central Scouting caught on to him because he was in my back pocket for quite a while this season. But at the end of the day, it's cool that people are noticing him because he is a tremendously fun player to watch. And we'll get into the video right now as to why. So again, if you really enjoy this, definitely like and subscribe, and definitely consider a subscription over at Scouching.ca. And you can get these as soon as you want, as soon as they're ready, I should say. And you'll get to see these before everybody else. So let's get into the video on Zharovsky and get into some of the fun about what's going on with this guy. So watch what he does along the corner here down low. He's going to take the puck out back to the blue line, which we've been over this in previous videos is a no-no and can be a huge problem, which is definitely a thing Zharovsky can do, is some stuff that in the NHL will not work 100%. But this pass out into the middle after taking the puck all the way around the perimeter of the offensive zone, creating a slot chance, I mean, it's just good to see him at least capable of these things and the skill level to pull it around defensemen. But you'll notice the quality of the defending here is a bit of a pattern of maybe not being so good. And here goes Zharovsky off on the rush here, a little pass to a teammate, tap it, thank you very much, below the goal line, rips around the back, gets the puck into the middle, diffuses to defenseman and gets a shot on net. Just good pace in his game, good flow, pass, reception, retrieval, pass, simple stuff executed pretty well. So that bodes well. So here's Zharovsky under pressure down low in the offensive zone, and he does fend off this pressure pretty well, pushing back against 81, which is physically what you want, but he does lose the battle. 81 is much bigger, and he does stick with the play though, right? I have to give him credit. He sticks with it, chases 81 down on possession, and causes a turnover in the offensive zone. This is the kind of thing that a lot of people criticize Russian players for not really doing as much of, but at least there are signs of Zharovsky doing this, right? He's at least trying. I do still wonder about the pace and the speed in his game. It's really hard to pick out at this level if this guy is quick enough and dynamic enough to be an NHL player. But I mean, this is good stuff. Seeing him chase down this play, challenge defenders deep in the zone, and just causing turnovers here. So it's good. Now this is one of the first clips where we're just going to go, all right, this is just fun. This guy just is having fun out here. So this is not him, by the way. Daniil Petrenko is an interesting player. I don't know if I would draft him, but he might be one to keep an eye on in the future. But he gets inside the middle here, but Zharovsky's down low here, right? You might think this is a pretty good shooting opportunity, of course, if he gets possession of the puck here, but it's not passed directly to him, but he makes up for it, and I'm just going to let this go. Watch this. Whoop! Puts it on net. not the best shot on net, I would say, but this is not the first time we're going to see him try stuff like this in the offensive zone, because this is what he does. He loves to do this stuff, and it is a riot. This is one of the ones where you see the fun stuff, but the frustration at the end is there, right? So Zharovsky gets the puck here. He's got a passing lane right there. So that's an option that he looks off, right? He fakes out 81 here, goes wide, which doesn't face a whole lot of pressure from that defenseman, which in the NHL, you're going to face pressure. And then he just passes the puck into feet and turns it over. So after all of this, the last thing I want is him, carrying the puck and carrying it and then sort of sloppily passing it into the opposing player's feet. Now, at the end of this clip, he does get in the way of a pass that goes directly to him, but the point of this clip that I pulled is just that he's a confident guy. He loves to hold on to the puck, but can often just end up with nothing sometimes with the puck on his stick, which is not the best, especially at this level of play. This is really good stuff on the forecheck here, just on this pass retrieval in the offensive zone. He just battles his way into a battle here, wins it, and then the board work here to escape pressure is just really good. Turn, diffuse to the point. Classic textbook stuff. Love to see it. This is what I didn't see a whole lot of out of him, but it's good to see. I want to see more of this, and the more this happens, I think the more coaches will trust him. Another fun one here. Again, I want you to pay attention to sort of the skating stride and the speed of his game, which is, I would say, not great, which is the big issue, I think. That's the big issue. But on this play, that pass is awesome. Like, he's capable of some awesome stuff. A chip and chase here, wins it. Again, pretty soft defending. This whole team just kind of lets him do whatever he wants. Beautiful pass right out in front, tape to tape on the backhand. Not many guys in this draft do that kind of stuff. This guy is just so cheeky, right? So Zharovsky is here. He's going to get this outlet pass, and even on pass receptions through the legs, not even through the legs, just behind his back, then takes the puck down low. Again, soft pressure from the opponent, works off of it, and then a really nice pass, taking it right behind the goaltender like that and not just shoveling it before he reaches the post. It's a good idea, I think, because it makes people think you're going to wrap around to the other side of the net. So it kind of tricks people into thinking you're going to take it all the way around. Like if he were to pass it here, for example, might be a little bit easy to predict, but he waits a split second more, a little bit further behind the goalie and in front of the net. So interesting pass decision there. And even just on this pass reception here, cheeky monkey, cheeky guy. This is one of like 40 gajillion passes that he had to the slot in the data set that I have. Again, I don't think he's going to escape pressure this easily at higher levels at all, but I did watch a few of his KHL games at the end of the season that he made into the playoffs, and he looks pretty good there, I would say. Like a pretty capable, I guess, KHL player, if not a little small and a little bit, lacking strength, but this is just another one of those slot passes that he pulled off, and the more you do this, the more you're going to score probably, and he's certainly scored quite a bit this season. Now here's Zharovsky on an entry, and again, we've been through this with a bunch of different guys. The amount of times that this is going to work out for you is not very good, right? Like all 5 guys are here, and this is Zharovsky though. This is what you're getting. He's going to slice right through him and cut inside and get a shot on net. If you can do this, if you can pull it off, then you're an excellent player. If you can pull this off in the NHL, awesome. This is how he's wired. This is what he's trying to do a lot. Will it work? That's the biggest question of all. So here he goes again. He's going to receive a pass here on the defensive exit. So just watch this guy. He gets up the ice, and this is the good thing I like about players like Zharovsky, right? There's a mental side to skill that you need to have. So what I mean by that, and I'll stop it in a second here. So he is going to try to go this way, or at least fake that he's going this way, but once the defenseman gets crossed up, he's going to go this way. So he fakes to one side, and now he's cutting the other way. This defenseman is biting this way, and as soon as he does, he knows he has a route into the offensive zone, gets pretty deep into the offensive zone, fends off pressure, wrap-around attempt, could have been a goal, right? So a nice play there from Zharovsky, and a sign of good things. There's a good mentality here. Like, he plays like a high-end NHL player, but in just about the worst level of junior hockey that there is in Russia that is not the NMHL. This looks awesome. This is really fun stuff. He gets the rebound here, cuts off number 80, cuts into the middle, and gets a medium shot on net. I personally look at this and I go, do I see him doing this in the NHL the way he is executing it now? Probably not, but he's wired this way. This is what you're drafting. You're drafting a kid who's wired to try this stuff and really was successful at it at this level and good enough at it where he earned himself a KHL gig at the end of the year here and there. Maybe that's a sign of things to come, but the fun factor is really high with this guy. And if you like exciting players, this guy becomes one of the most exciting players available quite quickly in the draft. So Zharovsky starts this off with a shot on net from here, and he follows it up with a really quick cut. Again, is it going to work in the NHL like this? No, but he slices through two players, keeps possession of the puck, keeps looking around, and finds a man entering the offensive zone along the half wall. So nice little skill move here. Nice awareness of space and where to go and how to navigate through pressure. And if you keep trying this stuff at higher levels of hockey and such, I imagine over time he'll get more and more successful at it. It's just going to be a matter of patience and a matter of picking your times and when to do it and what you need to do to improve to get this done successfully more often against better players. But again, it's about how he's wired. That's what I want to focus on. The timing on this pass is really, really brilliant. Just watch how he skates around, evading pressure, gets on his backward skating, cuts to the outside, and that pass is just perfectly timed. Now, defensively, the coverage is pretty less than ideal, but again, I didn't see this pass lane until I saw him do it, right? It appears very, very quickly, right? This has been an option very, very briefly, and he manages to spot it, hit him with a pass, and now you have an attempt on net. So good stuff from him there, and definitely was a thing that happened a lot. These passing decisions can also be done really quickly. He gets the rebound here, boom, straight across the crease, and if that's handled a little bit better, or if it's a better pass across the ice, that could have very easily been a goal, but unfortunately wasn't this time. But just a nice moment of vision, thinking quickly before touching the puck and having a quick puck touch that creates a scoring chance. Here's another one, just a really quick decision on the puck here. So Zharovsky is not the one with the puck here. Zharovsky is here. He's going to support his man here. He's going to get a nice little pass off the cycle and quick out in front scoring chance. He did this stuff all season long. The lens to keep in mind again is the level of competition, and I've said that a million times, but you're drafting this guy for how he's wired. Where you draft him in the draft, I don't know. But the stuff that he tries to do is pretty wild. Like, this is a really good pass here from Zharovsky, right? He's doing the right thing. He's got a lane. He's going to the net here. Doesn't end up getting the puck until it's below the goal line here. But really nice pass across his body like that, out in front to that defenseman that steps up. Really good stuff. Just quick, effective, dangerous. This is how he scored so much this year, and his production improved over the course of the season as well. That's important to note as well. This is another really nice pass from Zharovsky, who is here getting the puck along the boards, and just a nice awareness of how to get this through here. You've got a wide open man in a wide open lane with, again, the Yellow Brick Road. The Munchkins are welcoming you to Munchkin land. Boom. And that was almost a goal multiple times. That was almost a goal multiple times. And Zharovsky kind of started that all off with a nice pass into the slot. This didn't quite work out, but this is just more silliness from Zharovsky, depending on how you define silliness or what you value silliness as. But that's just such a fun skill move. A nice backhand pass. He's doing things that you just don't see a whole lot of players trying a whole lot of the time. That was just a really, really nice pass off the boards there. Didn't really go to anybody on his team, but kind of fun. This is kind of fun. Really nice patience from Zharovsky here. He gets the pass reception in open ice. You might say he's got a clear lane to the net. He can go for a scoring chance here, but he cuts in a little bit and tries to hit him with a pass through this lane on the back door. Really smart idea. Very nearly works out, and they get the wraparound chance anyway. But Zharovsky just played this really well. Found himself in open ice too, right? Like, this is a good scoring position to be in. Drifts out to the outside, stays in open ice. We talk about this a lot. Finding open ice in the offensive zone off the puck as a scorer. Now he's got time and space to think, tries to go back door, doesn't work. They get the wraparound anyway. Good stuff. Another really, really nice passing lane attempt here that he sees. I think that the vision with him is really creative and smart. Just tries to throw the puck around 29 there on defense. This is just really, really clever. The defenseman is a lefty, so you have a little bit of an advantage there by getting the puck around the right side of his body, and it very nearly goes in. That's very nearly a scoring chance. He doesn't handle the puck super well on the rebound, but the focus for me here is the vision and what he's trying to accomplish here, which I think is really, really clever. In order to, avoid challenging the defenseman on his strong side, he manages to find a way to get it around him. I just wanted to highlight Zharovsky because we saw it a couple of clips ago, but his ability to stay in open ice in the offensive zone is also a really good scoring threat potential trait, right? So he's in open ice here. He's a one-time threat, right? He is in wide open ice. Nobody's covering him. He floats into the middle. 71 is just asleep at the wheel here. 88 still in open ice, takes one cut, and he's heading this way, still in open ice. Nobody's covering him. Now, this could be the other team just being asleep, and that's very possible. This is the Silver Division in Russia. Yeah, 100%. But Zharovsky just does such a great job in a lot of games that I've seen of being aware off the ice, finding space, and making himself an opportunity. He gets lots and lots of puck touches. He has lots and lots of opportunities to make plays because he does stuff like this. And UFA's a really well-structured team that does have good cycle play, and he's a big part of that. This was very nearly quite a lot of fun here from Zharovsky. So Zharovsky's here on the half wall. This puck doesn't get handled super well from 77, or passed or handled, whatever you want to call it. But that stick check to break up the possession, and then a nice little flip pass that I think gets deflected on the way and thrown up in the air. But that passing vision, again, is on display here, right? Where he's thinking, I'm not just going to funnel it straight to the middle without really any kind of direction here. I mean, maybe he could have given it to 91 here, but it might be a little early in the play. But to see this as an option, again, he seems to work off of the handedness of defenders really well. This is another reason why defending on your wrong side can be a little bit difficult, because your strong side is towards the inside part of the ice and not the boards. And to me, it's kind of like I like to sleep on the side of the bed that's towards the door, right? If I'm on the other side that's further away from the door, it's a little weird. It's a little more awkward and clumsy in my head. Maybe I'm a little strange, but that's just how it is. And for me, with Zharovsky flipping that puck around the other side, smart play, and he's done it a few times. And this is where Zharovsky can kind of fall apart a little bit. Like, you see the dynamic play here. You see the skill. You see the superstar fun stuff, but he holds onto the puck too long. Backhand pass to absolutely nobody, and this is a almost breakaway for the opposing team off of a pass to nobody. So he dishes the puck to someone else. Like here, yeah, you don't have any traffic in front. You don't have a great shot on net. And to think outside the box and go this way, like, I would have liked him to just wrap his stick around the defenseman there and send a pass into the slot. He loses the handle on it, still doesn't put it on net, and I guess he was trying to throw it back to the man that's in front here, 48, I believe. Like, maybe he was trying to get a pass in here and it just rolled off his stick, but this is the kind of thing that happens with him as well, where it's like, you see the work going in, and then on the other end of it, you go, oh, that didn't go well. And then there's this, right? Working off of contact, that's a mantra for a lot of scouts. Work off of contact. He's spinning off this defenseman. Now he has a clearer look at what's trailing for him, right? He waits, dishes the puck to this trailing defenseman here, which is great. Gets inside. Actually, that's a forward. Never mind. And then he's wide open again. He finds open ice. They're sleeping again. And he is wide open. And again, you might want him just to put it on net. You got an empty net. Just put it in. Sure. But you also see some skill here. Whoop. And tries to backhand it. Now, again, you might want him just to go, you've got an open net, put it in the net. You get a goal, you take it. But this is fun. It's fun to see this. It's a quick move. This is fun. This is where his sort of secondary creativity can come in handy, right? He thinks and drags the puck a little bit longer and puts it out in front. It doesn't get completed here, but I do like to see players like this route that he takes all the way around is really clever. And I think a pretty smart high-end thing, right? Like, you could argue he could put it on net from here, but he makes sure that this player here is on the ice and not much of a factor, drags it around him, and then tries to throw it out in front. Now, there's double coverage in the slot. This probably wasn't going to work anyway, but it's a good idea. The mentality of these sort of next level creative moments are good to note. This is the stuff I love about Alexander Zharovsky. He just has this delay game at a higher pace of play that projects. Like, you could see this in the NHL. A defenseman who delays, a forward who delays just enough, where it's just enough to make it work. He gets in, little delay there, cross ice pass, boom, you got a goal. Really, really good stuff. It's that secondary deception, that delay, that is really high end, that I think is what people are latching onto. This is just some good hard work from Zharovsky on the entry here, right? He's this guy, pushes his way into the offensive end, hangs onto it, tries to get a pass out in front, gets his own rebound, tries to put another one out in front, battles to win possession of the puck again, dishes it to someone else, and now they have a chance. A lot of that is driven off of his hard work, and that's definitely something to be aware of. So now we're going to get into some areas of potential improvement for Zharovsky, and I think the biggest thing is that, again, he is untested against much, much better hockey players than what he played against this year. Going from the NMHL to the MHL is a jump. And yes, he earned a gig for a bit in the KHL, which is good. That's a good thing too. But the thing I want to highlight with him is that the way he plays requires some elite level ability in the NHL. He's a boomer bust. There is no middle ground with a guy like this. He could either be a decent KHL player one day, or he could be a really good NHL player based on the creativity and skill level he's got. But this is another thing that I wanted to highlight, where the physical intensity is always just kind of not quite there with him, and he can overcommit to forechecks and all of this stuff and get left behind a little bit too easily for me. Like, he just kind of has this more lackadaisical approach off the puck, and this was a good example of that. And again, like, if you want to play like Alexander Zharovsky, I feel like this is quite a sloppy exit. Like, he's got the skill, he's moving the puck and all of this stuff, but he's barely clinging to life on this. And I found this to be the case a little more often than I would like, right? He obviously maintains possession, gets it to someone else in open ice, which is great. You know, it's just, if you're going to carry the puck, especially in the NHL, avoiding as much pressure as possible with evasion skill and agility is going to be pivotal. And that's where I think he is good, but not great at this level. And that's where I think there's going to need to be some improvement. This is from earlier in the year, but this was a consistent thing that I wanted to note. Again, it's the same thing we just talked about. This, like, you're a guy who wants to possess the puck. You want a quarterback rushes yourself. Well, then you better be good at protecting the puck. You better be good at moving the puck yourself and not very sloppy. And at times I felt like he was getting away with some soft defending a lot of the time when he was doing that fancy stuff, that really cool stuff. And I'll be very curious to see how things go from here. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this play here. So Zharovsky with a nice stick lift here off the puck, you know, just getting this possession for his team underway, goes into the offensive zone, but again, not a whole lot of quickness on this, and they miss the net. They corral the puck. He doesn't get a pass off, or it's not very well executed. And then on the back check, he's just not really particularly quick. 87, who is pretty small, gets a pretty good advantage on him, gets a bit of separation and a scoring chance. So a little bit of good stuff off the puck, but you know, this is a guy who does, when things slow down, become much less effective, which might be problematic in terms of projecting to the NHL, especially as like a highly rated player for this year's draft. Maybe there's a good amount of headroom here with him for sure, but as he is now, there's a bit of a gap. This is another one where I think it's just a matter of like on ice maturity. He hangs onto the puck a little bit too long, but it works. He gets the pass off, but the back check here is what I wanted to talk about. He doesn't settle the puck, not winning the stick check on the offensive zone exit, and then just stops, right? That's the big issue here, right? On this back check, you know, you lose possession of the puck and he just stops moving, throws his hands in the air, and they have multiple passes in his own end where he is behind the play. So again, as a coach or whatever, you're going to look at that and go, you want to be this dynamic, super creative offensive guy? Well, when things bite you in the butt, I want you to be involved still. You need to be doing stuff. And this one was one that I definitely wanted to highlight. And again, this is what I mean when I say the level of competition is just not much of a test for him. There's a lot of moments in this play where I go, yeah, he's holding on to the puck. The possession is great, but what's the opponent doing here? You know, he's not the most fast guy up the ice on that rush. He gains possession of that puck. That guy just gives up on him. 33 with a soft stick check. He gets through it. And this whole time, Zharovsky is just skating into pressure, right? I feel like there's a very fine line between these really skilled guys who can produce a lot at this level and actually doing this kind of thing in the NHL. This is not how the NHL plays. So you're really hoping that just the style of play that he has over the next 4, 5, 6 years grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and he continues to get more and more comfortable against better and better players, and eventually you get something. But this is what makes it really hard to make a read on Zharovsky. Like, I've liked him all season, but 5th in Central Scouting seems pretty wild to me, but I kind of see it. Like, it's very weird being a person who's watched him all year. I go back and forth all the time, but stuff like this is where I kind of go, yeah, I just don't know. I see stuff, but we're talking about the NHL here, and I just don't know. This is another one where if you're going to try to pull stuff off like this, it better work, right? Stops up. I think it's creative. It's a good move to stop up, draw 43 in, and get them off you, shake them off, but you know, you have a man right behind you. You try to do this, but you pass it directly to your opponent. There's nobody there. And now the puck's coming the other way. Obviously, that was a tough play to pull off. But if you're going to be this sort of next level creative guy, I would love to see some quickness. He's just opened up a huge lane here, right? You know, if he had some support here from this guy going this way, maybe there's a rush that could be had here. But it's a turnover and they're coming the other way. Again, these high-end ideas, these creative moments, if they don't work, they can really burn you, right? Against good teams, that's a deflected pass. And luckily, the defenseman there was to stop that play from getting out of the offensive zone and maybe be a rush the opposite direction. But if you're going to hold on to the puck and take it deep in the offensive zone yourself and then try to get it to the slot, you got to make it work. And with him, we'll see in the data, his completion percentages on these attempts were not very great because I felt like it was about volume and not necessarily timing things as well as he probably could. Alexander Zharovsky is very strange. I have a very hard time pinning him down as a prospect, honestly. I think there's going to be a point in the draft, unless he's drafted in the late first round or something, which is what his central scouting rank would imply. But I think there's going to be a point where, realistically speaking, considering where others have him ranked, he might be one of the most creative and skilled players available in the draft class, especially outside of North America. I look at him and I look at some of the other Russian guys in this draft class, guys like Daniil Prokhorov, and I mean, that's kind of about it in this year's draft class that really interest me. And I think that he's a player who is a tougher one to project. He's less of a straight line guy than Prokhorov. He's not as gifted a shooter. He's not as big. He's not as strong, but the creativity is just so crazy. Like, some of the things he's trying to do in these video clips is really high end. He hangs onto the puck, yes, but he's doing it for a reason. You know, he tries to cut inside. He tries to do the right thing a lot of the time. Obviously, I think there's going to be a long learning curve with him. You're not drafting him to be an NHL player in 2 years. I think you leave him in Russia as long as it takes. He might be 24 before he comes to the NHL. I'm thinking going back to like Arseny Grutziuk, where I remember him, he was skilled, but not very well refined. Zharovsky is largely untested, basically, against really good competition. KHL in a short spurt here and there, that's one thing, and he's looked okay at that level, which is good. Again, he plays a style of play like Cameron Schmidt that requires a high level of execution, a high level of confidence from the coach in order to play him. I don't see this guy as a third liner. I don't see this guy as a fourth liner. This guy, you're drafting him to take a swing on a guy who might be a high point producer that can play on your power play off the half wall, be a ruthless playmaker. He's got a pretty good shot that he also never uses. And on that note, taking a look at his data profile, it's really good in most categories. Huge pass volumes. This guy passes the puck a ton. His completion rates are okay. His slot pass attempts per 60 are enormous, like really high, some of the highest in the draft, but his completion rates are not awesome. But through it all, he does generate quite a few shot attempts for his line mates, both in the slot area and in the perimeter. It's about volume, but he is successful, and they do generate scoring chances relatively often with him on the ice and him passing the puck. His forechecking ability, he makes good reads off the puck. He does knock down pucks here and there pretty well. His offensive efficiency is extraordinarily good. He's almost up near 80%. He's quite successful carrying the puck. He's quite successful passing the puck as well. Do I believe that that's projectable, or is that him taking advantage of softer competition? I think you can see from these videos that it might be a combination of both his ability and his opponents, but I like the ability. On the defensive side of things, he's quite involved in those defensive rushes. He's quite successful at those defensive rushes. He's a good stick checker. He cuts off passes pretty well. He does have a decent amount of speed in his game, but not all the time. And when he's not going, it really limits what he's capable of. I'd love to see him shooting the puck more. I think he doesn't waste opportunities, which I would prefer, right? If you're going to shoot the puck, make it count. And he's a kid who doesn't really waste his opportunities. Almost 60% of his attempts, of the attempts that he did take, came from medium danger, high danger areas, which is good, but the volumes were really, really low. He was much more pass focused, much more interested in generating offense for others. Is there a future in the NHL for this guy? I would love to hope so. I think the more guys that are like this, that play at the highest levels of hockey, the more exciting the game is. The more exciting the player, the better off I think the world is. But I think for him, the bar is really, really high, and I think that the distance for him from the silver division in the Eastern Conference of the Russian Junior League to the NHL is beyond immense. This is just not the same at all. Like, we're talking, this is like junior A, junior B level hockey in Canada, in my opinion. Like, this is just not at all on the level of the WHL, OHL. At the end of the day, though, you're drafting a creative, clever, really, really exciting player. And you're hoping that in time, the skating can improve, the physical intensity can improve a little bit. You know, maybe he finishes some checks more here and there, gains a little bit more of that separation gear, which I think is going to be a must for him. Then I think you could see something really develop with him. If he goes in the second round or something as a flyer in this draft class, I could easily see why. I might not do that, but if it's the third round and he's still kicking around, I feel like you could do a lot worse and just leave him in Russia for a long time, see what happens with him, because if he works out, he could be a heck of a player. And with that, we're going to call it. Thank you very much for joining me. This was a ton of fun. I love this guy. Even though it sounds like I'm a little bit critical of him, it's because I love him so much. I tend to do this where there are players where I just love how they play, but I think they're a bit of a ways away from their potential. I want them to work out. I would love for there to be more Alexander Zharovskys in the world. I just think the road to get there is quite long. long. So if you liked this report, definitely like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out a ton. If you really, really liked it and want to support us directly, you can either sign up for a membership or go to scouching.ca and sign up for a subscription there, where you'll get access to all kinds of fun data tools, visualization tables, Tableau dashboards, all kinds of stuff for the draft and drafted prospects, as well as access to all of these as soon as they're ready to go. So you can check that out, and thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.